Have you ever wondered why people have allergies? It's a question that's crossed our minds at some point. Allergies, those pesky reactions that cause sneezing, itching, rashes, and sometimes even more serious symptoms. They're a pretty common part of life for many of us, but what exactly are they? Well, believe it or not, allergies are actually our body's overzealous defense mechanism. That's right, our immune system, the same system that protects us from harmful bacteria and viruses, is the very thing that's causing these reactions. It's a bit like a well-meaning but overly protective friend who sees danger in everything. When our immune system encounters certain substances, known as allergens, it responds as if these substances were harmful invaders, triggering a range of symptoms we recognize as an allergic reaction. So, allergies are not a disease in themselves, but an over-enthusiastic defense system. Fascinating, isn't it? Now, you might be asking, why would our immune system overreact like this? Well, let's take a quick journey into the fascinating world of our immune system. Imagine it as the body's own superhero team, always on the lookout for villains that could harm us. These include bacteria, viruses, parasites, and other harmful substances. Just like any good superhero team, the immune system is incredibly efficient, sophisticated, and always ready to leap into action. But what happens when our superhero team encounters something they've never seen before? Say, a speck of pollen, a peanut particle, or a strand of pet dander. These substances are harmless, but to our immune system, they might as well be aliens from outer space. In a typical scenario, these harmless substances would pass right through our body without causing any fuss. But in the case of allergies, our immune system gets a bit too enthusiastic. It mistakenly identifies these harmless substances as threats and swings into action, resulting in an allergic reaction. The immune system releases a chemical called histamine, which causes symptoms like runny nose, itchy eyes, or skin rashes. And voila, you're sneezing, itching, and wishing you hadn't pet that cute cat or eaten that peanut butter sandwich. But why would our immune system do this? Well, it's all about self-preservation. The immune system's job is to protect us from harmful substances, and sometimes, in its zeal to keep us safe, it overreacts. It's like a superhero who sees a kid with a toy gun and thinks it's a real threat. And just like that superhero, our immune system can learn from its mistakes. That's why allergy treatments often involve controlled exposure to the allergen. Over time, the immune system learns that these substances are not a threat, effectively retraining itself not to overreact. So, in a nutshell, our immune system sometimes confuses friend with foe, causing what we know as allergies. But what are these substances that our immune system misidentifies and overreacts to? Well, let's dive into the world of allergens, shall we? Allergens, in simple terms, are typically harmless substances that somehow manage to trigger an allergic reaction. They're kind of like the misunderstood kids on the playground. They don't mean any harm, but they end up causing a ruckus anyway. Now, allergens can come in all shapes and sizes. They can be particles floating in the air, like pollen from trees, grasses, and weeds. They can be dust mites, tiny creatures that thrive in the dust around your home. They can be pet dander, flakes of skin shed by animals. Or they can be mold spores, microscopic fungi that grow in damp environments. But it's not just things in the air that can be allergens. They can also be certain foods like peanuts, milk, eggs, or shellfish. They can be insect stings like those from bees or wasps. And they can even be medicines like penicillin or aspirin. Now here's the thing. When you're exposed to an allergen, your immune system springs into action. It mistakenly identifies the allergen as a dangerous intruder and goes into overdrive to protect you. It releases chemicals, like histamine, into your bloodstream, which causes the symptoms of an allergic reaction. You know, the runny nose, itchy eyes, and sneezing we all love so much. So, why does this happen? Well, it's all because of a case of mistaken identity. Your immune system thinks it's doing the right thing by attacking these allergens, but in reality, it's just causing unnecessary chaos in your body. And there you have it, the story of allergens. They're just substances that your immune system mistakenly identifies as a threat. They don't mean to cause trouble, but they end up doing so anyway. So allergens are like those uninvited guests at a party who cause all the chaos, even though they mean no harm. But why do some people have allergies while others don't? This is where the plot thickens. The answer lies in a combination of our genetic makeup and the environment we live in. Let's start with genetics. You see, our genes are like the instruction manual for our bodies. And sometimes this manual contains certain instructions that make us more susceptible to allergies. This doesn't mean that if your parents have allergies, you'll definitely have them too. It's more like a lottery. You might inherit those allergy-prone genes, or you might not. It's a game of genetic roulette, if you will. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you've won the genetic lottery and dodged those allergy-prone genes, you're not necessarily in the clear. This is where our environment steps in. The world around us is filled with potential allergens, pollen, dust mites, pet dander, you name it. And our immune systems are constantly interacting with these allergens. Now imagine your immune system is like a bouncer at a club. It's there to keep out the troublemakers. But sometimes it can get a bit overzealous and start kicking out harmless guests like pollen or pet dander. This overreaction is essentially what an allergic reaction is. This is where repeated exposure comes into play. The more you're exposed to a particular allergen, the more your immune system gets used to seeing it. And the more it sees it, the more likely it is to view it as a threat and react. It's like the bouncer getting more suspicious of a guest who keeps turning up at the club. So in a nutshell, allergies can be a bit of a tricky business. It's not just about your genes or your environment. It's about how your genes interact with your environment. And it's about how your immune system interprets that interaction. So, allergies can be a result of your genes, your environment, or both. It's a complex interplay that scientists are still unraveling. But with each new discovery, we're getting closer to understanding why some people have allergies while others don't. So we've learned quite a bit about why people have allergies. Let's take a moment to revisit what we've covered. At the heart of it all is our immune system, that diligent protector working around the clock to keep us safe. Sometimes, though, it gets a bit overzealous, reacting to substances that are typically harmless. These culprits, known as allergens, can be anything from pollen and dust mites to certain foods and medications. They trigger our immune system to launch an all-out attack, resulting in the familiar symptoms of allergies. But why do some of us fall victim to these false alarms while others seem immune? Well, the answer lies in a complex interplay of genetics and environment. Our genes can predispose us to allergies, but our surroundings also play a pivotal role. While allergies can be a nuisance, understanding them helps us better manage them and even appreciate our body's complex defense system. After all, it's just trying to protect us.